There are certain little hidden secrets or gems, tuning secrets, glitches, all that kind of thing featured throughout the entire Gran Turismo franchise. But in this particular list, we're just featuring Gran Turismo 6. And this is my top 15 overall selection of cool things on Gran Turismo which people do know about, but not necessarily everyone knows about. So I'm sure there are some on this list, maybe even most of them, that you may have heard of before. But for those who haven't, this could be beneficial. Now, not all of the things on this list are necessarily groundbreaking or mind-blowing. Some of them are just interesting little things which you may not have noticed before. So, kicking us off first of all is the fact that the Nissan V-GT, the Concept 2020, actually has a boost system, and many people don't realise this. You can actually engage this boost system using the NOS button, which for most people is set up to be R1 on a controller. So basically when you hit that NOS button, you get an electric boost on top of your regular engine power. This doesn't actually increase top speed, but it actually does significantly improve your acceleration. Our second interesting thing is the black paint glitch. Many people know about this now, but basically what this is, if you purchase the Peugeot Vision GT car in a particular red colour, I believe it also works with a couple of others, but I know red does for sure, then you will unlock that red colour in your paint shop, but it won't come up as red. It will feature on any car that can be painted as a solid matte black, despite being under the normal or gloss paint section. The next thing on our list is reasonably well known now, but it's the top speed glitch. You take certain cars on a custom racetrack, you can drive them into the pit lane the wrong way, your track will reset, and then next thing you know, you've got yourself a 400, 500, 600 plus mile per hour insane modified car. Number 4 on our list is pretty well known by many people now, but for those who aren't familiar with it, it's the Gearbox Flip. Basically, go down to your final drive, take it all the way up, click up and down your auto settings, come back to your final drive, and this then allows you to reach gear ratios which you weren't able to before. Our next interesting feature actually stems from the previous one. If you use that gearbox glitch, you can actually get the Chaparral 2J, and again, many people know this by now, and I put a video out about this very early on through Gran Turismo 6's life, that you can make the Chaparral 2J the fastest car in the game in reverse, capable of almost 300 miles per hour completely under its own power, and even more if you go in draft. Our next point is that a car which many people have used on GT6 is actually very historically significant. The Moon Rover, which we can use in the Moon missions, is actually the most expensive car ever made, with a price of around $38 million to build. Our next interesting fact is that the Abarth 1500 by Posto Bertoni is the only car in the game capable of running with a single headlight. Our 8th point is regarding the Audi V16 Streamliner, a notable car in many ways, pretty unique visually, the oldest car in the game, but also specifically for the case of this list, this car is notable because it actually has the best fuel economy of any car in the game. It's capable of running up to 7 laps of Special Stage Route X on a single tank of fuel. And I've actually done that in the past. You do have to get perfect draft, but it can do it. Our next interesting fact is that there is actually a secret BMW featured on Gran Turismo 6. Now, many people probably know about this by this point, but basically if you go into the BMW dealership and purchase the 2 M3 GT race cars, or just one, but I can't remember which, you actually unlock a third base model M3, which is not available unless you've purchased one of the other two. This model can be painted, has a different name, and slightly different bodywork. It does, however, share the same performance. Our next interesting fact is regarding torque. Now when you play Gran Turismo you'd probably assume that the vehicle with the most torque in the game would be something like the Jay Leno tank car. Surprisingly, that's actually not the case, and to any who have seen my top 10 highest torque cars on GT6, you'll already know what car this is. It's perhaps surprisingly an electric car, the GT by Citroën Concept, with over 1,800 foot-pounds of torque. That's more than 50% more torque than a Veyron. Our next point is that the Peugeot 908 base model is actually more powerful than both of the full liveried models of the 908. It can actually be tuned to 1,202 horsepower. Our next interesting feature, and this is one that eluded me for quite a while, was that the Lotus 97T, aka Ayrton Senna's Lotus F1 car, is actually customizable. You can change the wing, the livery, and even parts of the bodywork in the tuning garage, which is highly unusual for any race car, let alone a classic F1. Our next point, and this is an interesting one that dates back all the way to Gran Turismo 4, is that there is actually a car on Gran Turismo that features underglow neon, and that is the Blitz non-premium ER34 Drift Skyline, which features some small LED underbody lights and a neon light setup in its grille. Our second to last interesting fact, and this is one which escapes a lot of people's notice for obvious reasons, is that the Cadillac CN Concept actually has side intakes which open at high speed. Obviously you can't notice that unless you see someone else driving it, but once you drive the car, those side intakes open up in a very reminiscent way to vehicles such as a Lamborghini. And our final interesting feature is that, speaking of Lamborghini, all models of the Lamborghini Murcielago feature asymmetrical bodywork. One side intake is actually a completely different shape to the other. So that's it overall for my hidden gems of Gran Turismo 6. If there's any that you found personally would like to share, such as the Mazda MX-5s with stripes, etc., feel free to slap those down below. But for now, thanks for watching.